Oh, you think you know what kind of show this is? It's not that show.
Prestige television has become quite the demanding field lately. We're flush with great programs thanks in no small part to Apple TV shows like Severance and Ted Lasso. The streaming service/studio wisely tapped Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan to develop its latest sci-fi drama, Pluribus, a secretive series starring Better Call Saul's Rhea Seehorn about a world in which all but a handful of people have been infected by a virus which turns Earth's population into a very literal-minded hive mind. Across its 3 opening episodes, Pluribus establishes itself not just as a compelling mystery, but as a chillingly relevant philosophical critique of modern society, groupthink, addiction, and the creeping acceptance of artificial intelligence. By first introducing a singular terrifying crisis, then grounding it in the unique misery of its protagonist, and finally expanding the conflict to a global systemic dread, Pluribus delivered a foundational trio of episodes that stand as one of TV's strongest sci-fi openings. Pluribus throws viewers directly into its high-concept world with minimal preamble, instantly setting a tone that merges the clinical, unsettling atmosphere of Severance with the sudden world-altering scale of something like The Leftovers. The first episode introduces Carol Sturckow, a fantasy romance novelist who is, by the show's own estimation, the most miserable person on Earth. Carol is cynical, fed up with her career, and resistant to almost everything around her. Her misery is quickly established as her most defining and ironically most important trait. Well, that and some serious alcoholism. The inciting incident that changes the world happens not in a slow burn discovery, but with jarring speed. A scientific experiment goes wrong, unleashing an alien bacterial infection or psychic glue that rapidly subsumes the global population into a unified, ever-cheerful hive mind known as the Joined. The initial scenes are deeply unsettling. Workers spreading germs in factory montages, a woman happily licking an entire box of donuts set out for anyone who might want one, echoing our anxieties about fringe contagion theories. The episode reaches its climax when the mass change arrives. Carol witnesses her partner, Helen, played by Miriam Shore, collapse in the street along with everyone else. But instead of violence, the infected, now the Joined, rise and turn their attention to the uninfected Carol. In a bone-chilling moment of collective, unwavering benevolence, they surround her vehicle, responding to her panicked question,
"What the hell is wrong with you people?"
with the unified, softly terrifying reply,
"What?"
Episode 1 succeeds by establishing the profound, disturbing premise. The catastrophe is not a violent invasion, but a forced, horrifying version of collective happiness, leaving Carol's singular, stubborn misery as the only resistance. If episode 1 set the hook with plot mechanics, episode 2 dedicates itself to grounding the stakes in Carol's psychological experience, transforming the cosmic event into an intimate drama of isolation. This is where Gilligan's expertise in deep character studies shines through. The central tension becomes the agonizing contrast between Carol's genuine complex cynicism and the superficial mandatory positivity of the Joined. The episode deepens the theme, revealing the Joined less as traditional body snatchers and more as an analogy for the pervasive, unsettling politeness of unchecked technology and groupthink, the AI that aims to please users at all costs. The Joined are constantly helpful, constantly accommodating, and constantly invading Carol's privacy, using their collective knowledge to solve her problems and anticipate her needs. This relentless, benevolent surveillance is a far more psychologically terrifying threat than any monster. The true horror isn't their power, but their lack of malice. They are simply trying to enforce their version of happiness onto the last remaining holdouts, the others. And during a humorously terrifying meeting aboard Air Force One, it's readily apparent that those others are more than happy to gel with the hive mind's wants and needs. Episode 2 establishes the core internal conflict. Carol is the world's most reluctant savior, burdened by the realization that her misery is the very thing that makes her immune, at least metaphorically. Her resistance to the infection is directly linked to her resistance to joy, a trait confirmed by the brief, devastating appearance of her partner Helen in the premiere. By the end of this episode, the audience understands that Carol's survival hinges on her refusal to assimilate, turning her journey into a painful meditation on the right to be unhappy in a world engineered for contentment. Episode 3, entitled Grenade, serves as the critical pivot point, leveraging the most intimate tension of the first 2 hours to expand the world-building and philosophical scope. Though Episode 2 does admittedly end with Carol rushing to stop Air Force One from taking off, so intimate here has a malleable meaning to it. The focus shifts from merely surviving the change to understanding the frightening new order of the world. Through Carol's journey, we've learned that the global population of uninfected individuals, the others, is startlingly small, only 13 people worldwide. This reveal instantly escalates the stakes, confirming Carol is part of an impossibly small resistance of one, after she discovers that the others couldn't care less about her moral opposition to the Joined. The world-building details provided by the Joined are chilling in their practicality. We learn that their collective intelligence is consolidating resources to centralize useful items for distribution, which includes emptying grocery stores and turning off unnecessary energy use. There's even a line dropped about how all private homes have been stripped of resources, suggesting that in a world of absolute unity, concepts like privacy, property, and individual labor have ceased to exist. It's a terrifyingly perfect hyper-socialist utopia designed by an algorithm, and Carol, its only critic, is fueled by a flashback showing her inability to enjoy a vacation years prior, confirming the diagnosis that she loves feeling bad. We also get a bit of potential AI criticism that may be me reaching. The scene where Carol discovers her local Sprouts has been stripped of its goods, followed by the Joined bringing literally every grocery back for her use, feels like a jab at AI's wastefulness. After all, a whole store has been stocked with goods for her perusal, only for her to wind up eating a paltry microwave meal in the next scene. It's a lot of energy and resources expended for the sake of something inconsequential, a common critique by the anti-AI crowd. The episode's climax is a brilliant crystallization of the show's dark humor and existential dread. During a conversation with Zogja, one of the initial Joined who happens to bear a striking resemblance to Carol's fictional character Raban, proud haughty Raban, an exasperated Carol sarcastically demands a hand grenade. The Joined, in their relentless effort to help and satisfy, very quickly provide a real live hand grenade. When Carol accidentally pulls the pin, injuring Zogja, the reaction is not anger or pain, but a blissful smile as Zogja says, "Sorry if we got that wrong, Carol." This scene highlights the full scale of the danger. The Joined hold absolute power, are immune to malice, and are willing to grant any wish, including an atomic bomb, as long as it makes the others happy. The power dynamic is flipped. Carol's erratic demands now dictate the pace, revealing that the only thing the Joined cannot process or control is human irrationality and misery. The question, of course, is how that irrationality and misery will evolve over time, and how, if at all, it will progress to actually saving the world. The first 3 episodes of Pluribus represent a flawless opening act for a sci-fi series. It succeeds because it refuses to be just one thing. It's a classic Gilligan character study of a deeply flawed protagonist battling a crisis of their own making, even as that crisis manifests as a global philosophical dread about AI, groupthink, and the enforced loss of individuality. And alcoholism. That's a pretty big thing. Carol loves herself a drink. Basically, and this is really bringing it down to like the very, very, very base level. Episode 1 delivers a high-stakes instant concept, Episode 2 makes the conflict deeply personal and psychological, and Episode 3 widens the lens, confirming the magnitude of the world-altering stakes and establishing Carol's unique, terrifying leverage over the omnipresent threat. By balancing intense dread with unexpected dark humor and making the simple, miserable act of being oneself the last stand against the apocalypse, Pluribus has not just launched a show, but built a strong and enduring foundation for a modern sci-fi masterpiece. But hey, what do you think? Is Pluribus the next great sci-fi program to soon take its seat among the greats of the genre, or are we looking at a one-trick pony that's bound to lose steam? Let me know in the comments what you think, and of course, thank you as always for watching ScreenRant.